Welcome to BootSpy. My name's William. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Redwing Iron Ranger. I'm going to talk about what I like, what I don't like, and ultimately whether or not this boot is right for you. So let's get into it. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below. Also give us a thumbs up. It helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. Thank you for doing that. And again, today we are talking about the Redwing Iron Ranger. Now this is Redwing's most famous shoe in their heritage collection. It might actually just be their most famous boot across the board, across the whole brand. But I've been thinking about this boot for about the last 3 years and I finally bit the bullet. I went out, I picked one up, I picked up a pair for myself and I've been wearing them for the last, let's say about 3 weeks now at this point that I've been wearing them. So I have some opinions, some thoughts. I've got things to say. So that's what we're here. Let's start by talking about the leather quality and care. So the Redwing Iron Ranger is made with an oil tanned full grain leather that's done by a company called the SB Foot Tanning Company, something like that. But they're owned by Redwing. So basically the leather on the Iron Ranger is tanned in-house in Redwing, Minnesota. So you get this really high quality, super soft. So now oil tanning, basically it starts off with a vegetable tanning method. So you're gonna have all of that durability of vegetable tanning, but it has a little more suppleness. Sometimes vegetable leather or vegetable tan leather can be a little stiff when you first get it, but if it's kind of treated and has additional tanning done with oils, then that softens it up, makes it a little bit smoother to wear, a little smoother to the touch, a little more creamy when you feel it. So that's what the oil tan leather is all about. And again, it's full grain leather. It's very, very thick. So that's just gonna add to the durability. It's gonna add to the longevity. If it gets wet, if you're in any sort of muddy situation, that water shouldn't penetrate all the way through, depending on, if you accidentally get caught out there. The water will penetrate less deep into the leather, and so you're just gonna get a longer lasting boot. As for the sole, we have a 7mm Vibram mini lug sole. Now this has changed from, I think they changed the sole out in, I believe, 2016, and they used to have this was a flat sole. It didn't have the mini lugs here. A lot of people were having issues just slipping whenever the conditions got wet or icy. So by adding in the mini lugs, they've done a great job to increase that traction and make it just a more comfortable boot to wear out when it's raining, when it's wet, so that you don't slip off the sidewalk and careen into a ditch, which we hate that. Other qualities in the sole, it's a really, really hard rubber. You're basically getting the same material all the way throughout. Now, a lot of service boots in this style, they'll have, maybe like a wooden part to the sole or a softer rubber heel, but you're not getting that here. It's the same sort of hard rubber compound all the way through the outsole here, and then the heel, they've kind of cemented that same material right there. You can see on the bottom here that the heel is nailed in. It's attached to this strip right along here, and so it's not just cemented. So it's not like the heel is going to separate from the outsole. That should stay together. And yeah, I've had these 3 weeks, and you can't really see any wear on the edge of the heel, which is already a good sign. And basically, because this rubber is so hard, I fully expect this to last multiple years, 2-3 years, before it needs to be resold. When it comes to style, this is absolutely a casual boot. I think all service boots are casual boots. I did read in some reviews as I was kind of preparing for this video that some people say, oh, you can pair it with a suit, but I think that's crazy because you can wear flip-flops with a suit. It doesn't mean it makes sense. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. So this is absolutely a casual boot, and I think it's even more, or I should say less versatile than some of its competitors, like say the Thursday Captain, or like the Oliver Cabell SB1. It's a little bit less versatile than that because it has the nickel eyelets and speed hooks. Now that contrast there, it just doesn't look as, necessarily as clean as if these were painted a darker color, so that could blend in, because these really stand out. And I think that's super cool, but that is a distinctive feature about the Iron Rangers. That's important to know before you buy them, is that, yeah, you're gonna pretty much wear it with, I think it looks best with raw denim, and you just cuff the the cuff, I don't know, the hem, you cuff the leg. What do you call that? The leg opening. You cuff the leg opening, and it just looks, that's such a good look. It's so classic. As we go down here, you have the toe cap, and this is kind of the distinctive thing. It's quad stitch, so it's got 4 stitches there. All the stitching around the vamp and then the heel, that's all triple stitched, so you have a lot of extra durability there. And if it ever starts to fray, any of these stitches start to come loose, you can always bring it back to Redwing and they will fix that for you, or you can bring it to any cobbler. They should be able to fix that as well. This is a Goodyear welted shoe. So it's 270 degrees Goodyear welted. So the heel does not have the Goodyear welt. And basically what that does is that allows the heel to be a little bit more, doesn't stick out so much. I prefer it that way. You know, you lose a little bit of that water protection back here, and then you also run the risk of like that cemented part coming off. But I have not seen or heard of anyone having issues with that. And it's still pretty easy to resole. You shouldn't have, I know with cemented boots, cemented soles, a lot of times cobblers can't go and replace that, but you definitely can replace your soles with the Iron Ranger. When it comes to the break-in period, this is kind of my one gripe here. This is my one issue now. Breaking these in will test your spirit. It will test your soul, because it is not a comfortable boot right away. Basically, it's unlined on the inside. All these rivets are exposed. The insole is cork and leather. The outsole is really hard rubber. And the boot can kind of fit a little bit tight in the sides if you get the right size. It fits, it kind of constricts the sides of your feet a little bit initially. But yeah, basically, some people, you know, they'll go, their break-in period lasted 4 days and they felt fine. Some people's break-in period is like 4 months. For me, it was about 8 to 10 wears. And that's, you know, wear it out for an hour, wear it out for 2 hours, let it rest for a day, and then do the same thing. So it took me about 2 to 3 weeks, still a little uncomfortable when I put them on, but I can tell that they're breaking in. Part of it is when you put your foot in, that insole is cork and leather, and so it does take time. Like initially that's not very comfortable when you put your foot in there, because it's going to kind of fight back. But as you walk around, as you break them in, your foot sinks into that insole, and so it just makes the experience much more comfortable over time. And then also you're getting less rubbing along the sides and like the balls of your feet. You're getting less rubbing going on there when you're walking around as the leather starts to stretch. Now these boots cost right around $300. Sometimes if you're shopping on Amazon, you can find them for under $300. For me, these were I think $320, and I bought these in store at Redwing. So they aren't the cheapest boot, but if you think about it, like I was talking to a guy at the Redwing store, he said like 2 days before I showed up, they had a guy come in and he was getting his Redwing Iron Rangers resold, and he bought them in the 70s. So, you know, if you're spending $300 on a boot, that can be expensive. That can kind of make you make you step back for a moment. But really, if you're gonna have a pair of boots that can last 40 or 50 years, like that's insane. So think of it just as an investment. And if you really like the style, you know, I think it's definitely worth investing that kind of money in a boot that you're gonna wear often. So let's break it down into my favorite parts of the boot, my least favorite things about the boot, and then let's get to the verdict. So here's what I like about the Redwing Iron Ranger. The leather quality on this boot is superior to any other boot actually that I have in my collection. Now you're doing full grain oil tanned leather from Minnesota, you know, it's tanned in Minnesota, and the quality is apparent right away, especially for vegetable tan leather. You know, it's much softer, much more smooth and creamy right when you're, you know, right out of the box without breaking it in. It does have a really smooth, supple feeling to it. I do love the nickel eyelets. Now that makes it less versatile, but it is super rugged looking, looks great with a pair of broad denim jeans, and I love the toe cap. So all of that just kind of makes for this really super masculine boot that just looks really cool. I like that it's Goodyear welted. That means I can get these resold. And again, yeah, you have guys coming in, they've had these for 40, 50 years. So that's a super long time. I'm not sure if mine will last 40, 50 years, but it'll definitely last, you know, a decade or two. And just getting those resold regularly, that definitely helps. Lastly, these have legacy. I mean, it's not uncommon to go around and see somebody out on the street wearing these, and you kind of have that like, oh, like you're a boot man too. Like you got a pair of Redwing Iron Rangers. So you can kind of commune with people when you see them on the street. You don't see them too often, but every once in a while you notice somebody with a pair of Redwing Iron Rangers. You get to say what's up, you're part of the club. Here's what I don't like about the Redwing Iron Rangers. They hurt really badly for the first few days. Now, the first time I put them on, they basically rubbed the side of my foot pretty rough. There's blisters, there was crying, there was bleeding, there was rolling around on the floor. It wasn't all that, but it was uncomfortable. The break-in period this has been the roughest break-in period I've had on a pair of boots. A lot of people back me up on that. Some people, if you get I think they have a hawthorn and a charcoal, like rough out leather, people have a much easier time with those materials because it's a different style of leather. But my experience with, this is the amber harness, my experience was a tough one. I also didn't like that there was these exposed rivets on the back. That did not help that break-in period. Those definitely at the beginning kind of dug into my ankles a little bit. Luckily there's a gusseted tongue here, and that helps kind of keep the tongue in place so that it's blocking those rivets. But there was one time I think that the tongue got folded wrong, and that was my bad, but the rivet did come and get me. It came for me. So that would be another minus on my side. And the third and final thing that I am not such a huge fan of is the sizing. These seem to be sized much larger, so it's important to know, and it's easy to get around, but it's kind of one of those tricky things, especially if you're shopping online. If you're here on YouTube, you're watching reviews, so you might be doing your shopping online. Go with a half size smaller. I wear all of my sneakers, all of my other boots. I'm a 10.5, but I got the Redwing Iron Ranger in a size 10, and it fits really well. So I like that. But that's something to note, that if you're 10.5, don't get a 10.5, get a size 10. If you're normally a size 11 in sneakers, get a size 10.5, half size down. When you first try them on, you'll notice that the sides of your foot right here on the vamp right there, the sides of your foot, that will feel a little extra snug. I was a little bit worried about that, but I got mine fitted at the Redwing store. They said to expect that, and it's true that this starts to break in pretty quickly, and so even if it's a little bit snug, don't worry about it so much. Even if it rubs a little bit more, you give it a good 5 wears or about 10 hours of wearing. That, because it's vegetable or because it's oil tanned, full grain leather, that's going to stretch out a little bit, and that discomfort will go away pretty quickly. Here's my final verdict on the Redwing Iron Ranger. I am a huge fan of these boots. Now, they're classics, and I understand now they are classics for a reason. They've become iconic. They're up there with like the Levi 501s, the Ray-Ban Clubmasters. These are classic pieces, or a classic piece of American style history, and it just makes total sense when you look at the quality, the durability, and the style. Those are my favorite parts of the boot. The fact that it adds up to a really rugged, masculine-looking shoe, masculine-looking boot. The fact that it looks so good with raw denim, that just goes really well. And also, I don't really have to worry about banging these things up. I know they can take it, and then I also know I can get them repaired every, I don't know how long it's going to take, but 3 years or so, you get these repaired and they look, pretty much good as new. So I love that. Now, they do require a little bit of care, and I talked about that earlier in the video, but my biggest thing is, get a pair of cedar shoe trees, put them in here so that the vamp doesn't sag. And then you get these clown shoes and they kind of look goofy, and you're going to have to spend more time and effort to refurbish them at that point. So just put a little care up front, get that taken care of. But I waited 3 years to get these. I'm a little bit upset that I waited that long, but now that I have them, I really love them. They definitely fit a certain part of my wardrobe, and I'm a huge fan. Guys, that's it for our review. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up. I really appreciate you coming here. I really appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you going to get the Redwing Iron Rangers? Any particular color options you like? This is the amber harness, but they do have some really, really cool other options out there that, it might be another 3 years before I go out and get another pair of Iron Rangers. But let me know what you like, what you're looking at. And until next time, put your best boot forward.